Venezuela looks to their ultimate finish in the World Baseball Classic. So Salvi looks great. Salvi right now looks like classic Salvi. Pick your favorite year of Perez. That's what he looks like so far early on in camp. Jonathan India, as you heard, cut his hair. Said he just decided one morning. Woke up in the morning, cut it all off, much to the dismay of his wife. Jonathan India, a guy that I believe has as much pressure on him once this season starts. I believe Michael Massey's dealing with the most pressure right now in camp. I think that'll eventually find its way to Jack Caglione. But Jonathan India is going to feel the pressure from Royals fans the moment that umpire says play ball in Atlanta, game 1 of the season coming up at the end of March. Kyle Isbell had a great conversation with the Royal center fielder earlier today. He attacked the offseason in a much different way. Worked his body, worked his lower half, worked muscles that he hasn't worked before. Not so much to make himself better defensively. He's already one of the finest center fielders in the American League. But Izzy, whose clock is ticking as far as a free agency, becoming a pending free agent, right? Izzy's been around a long time. I've said it before, next to Salvador Perez, Isbell is the longest tenured Royal. Under contract this year, arbitration again next year, and then he's a free agent. And sure, you can stay in this game a long time if you're a dynamic defensive center fielder, but is he looking to add a little bit more to his game offensively? Not saying that he's going to be a power hitter, but a few more line drives up the middle the other way. So excited to see what Kyle Isbell could do this spring. As far as Noah Cameron is concerned, I'm not going to say that I'm getting any sort of negative vibes pertaining to Noah Cameron. Not at all. But the more people I talk to, the more I sense that they want to see him do it again. And I think we're all feeling similar, but the Royals fans that I converse with, and shoot, man, I can even speak for myself, I didn't have that concern. I was very confident that Noah Cameron's your number 5 starter, and he's going to give you a chance to win 3 out of every 4 times he takes the ball. I still believe that, and yet these baseball men and women that have seen a lot more than I have, that have experienced a lot more than I have, don't seem to be as all in that, of course, Noah's going to be able to take the ball 30 times this season. And we kind of want to see how he adjusts to the adjustments that the rest of Major League Baseball is certainly going to make to him coming up in 2026. And I would say the same thing about Jack Caglione. Now, Cags, of course, did not have the success that Cameron did last year, but the resignation that I have that, of course, Jack Caglione's in right field on opening day. Of course, he's getting every day at bats in right field. Now, maybe what I'm hearing, what people are telling me is just a smoke signal. You know, they don't want Noah getting a big head, even though I don't see how that's possible. They don't want Jack Caglione getting a big head, even though I don't see how that's possible. 2 very grounded young men. But from these conversations that I'm having with baseball men and baseball women around the game, there does seem to be a little bit more of a wait-and-see approach with Cameron and Caglione in 2026. That's not the case with Carter Jensen. But Cameron and Caglione, I think there are a lot of people that are interested to see how the first 2 months go. And if they don't go great, how do those 2 second-year big leaguers respond in their sophomore campaigns? Again, we'll talk with Matt Strom coming up in a bit, Blake Mitchell as well, but 3 days into camp, I'm just giving you my first glance observations. Everyone's telling you how much depth this team has, pitching-wise, and I don't disagree. But I don't care who you're a fan of, if your team doesn't feel like it has pitching depth right now, you have no shot. So you better feel like, boy, Kansas City has a lot of arms that they could call upon when and if an injury arises. I'm not celebrating it. I'm happy that we feel as if there is some depth to this pitching staff, but I would have to believe that 20 of the 30 big league teams are very happy with their depth on the mound right now. So when you hear someone say that, let it go in one ear and out the other. It's February. You better like your pitching depth right now, because if you don't, you have no shot over the course of 162. A few other observations. You can't talk with Cole Reagans right now without him mentioning October in the first two sentences. The focus of Reagans, and you sense it from a lot of these guys right now, the disappointment with their winning 2025. The feeling as if we should have been better, and we will be better this year. Almost a bitterness with how last season went. And how, boy, if you could have just extended that season a few more weeks, the Royals could have tracked down one of those final few playoff spots. Bobby Witt Jr., I'm amazed, and I shouldn't be, because I've been watching Salvi do it for a decade now. But these greats, like Salvi, and I believe like Bobby Witt Jr., the way that they always find a path to getting better. You watch Salvi in 2021, you're thinking, boy, it might not get any better than this. And yet every single year, Salvi shows up and he's incrementally better here, there, and maybe in this aspect as well. That's what Bobby's doing right now. It's hard to imagine how Bobby Witt Jr. gets better, but you watch him work on his first step as he's trying to become a better base stealer. Watching him work defensively with infield coach Jose Alguacil. Watching Bobby range to his left, working defensively on those plays behind the second base bag. Guy never stops looking for an edge, a way to get incrementally better. Other observations, Carter Jensen does not leave the hip of Salvador Perez, and I couldn't be happier. Happy as a Royals fan watching that, because who better to learn from than the great number 13, but also just the baseball fan, the human being in me. Can you imagine your favorite player as a kid? You blink your eyes, 10 years go by, and now every single day you're working alongside of him. Just such a cool story for Carter Jensen, and he's going about it the right way. And then finally, Tyler Tolbert. This dude has a chance, man. He was one of the most impressive players last year in spring training, parlayed that into a lot of time in the show last year and some big moments, both offensively and on the base paths. I think Tyler Tolbert has a real chance to surprise this spring out here in Surprise, Arizona. Like I mentioned, Matt Strahm will join us. Matt Strahm, I mentioned Tyler Tolbert, a 13th round pick. Matt Strahm was a 21st round pick of the Royals. Royals ultimately traded him to San Diego back in 2017, but he is back in that bullpen, and Matt Quatrero is happy to have him.
Ultra competitive. No situation is too big, wants the ball, and, when the best hitters are up there. We've seen that firsthand when he's pitched against us, too, and he's put together some really good years recently, and obviously the organization knew him well from drafting him and the person he is, so we feel really good about that.
Last 3 seasons, all in Philadelphia, Matt Strahm threw 212 innings. In those 212 innings, had more than 250 strikeouts. That's a strikeout per 9, near 11. Had an ERA of 2.71 and a whip below 1. MLB Network just ranked him as the 7th best reliever in all of Major League Baseball. We'll talk with Matt Strahm coming up in 10 minutes. Also, Blake Mitchell, soon to be the top-ranked prospect in this Kansas City system. As you may remember, last year on the first day of spring training, he broke his hamate bone, that little hook-shaped bone right there on your palm. Broke it on the first day, never really felt 100% until October in the Arizona Fall League, where down the stretch, boy, did he put up some numbers. In 19 games in the Arizona Fall League, the 21-year-old Blake Mitchell had 20 walks and scored 20 runs in those 19 games, highlighted by a home run that had an exit velo near 117 miles per hour. There are only 4 big leaguers that hit a ball as hard as Blake Mitchell did last year. I'm talking Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, Pittsburgh's O'Neal Cruz, and the Reds' Elly De La Cruz. That's it. Blake Mitchell, excited to talk with him coming up in about 35 minutes. And, everyone's excited to finally lay eyes on this guy, including his skipper, Matt Quatrero.
Well, I mean, he's a plus receiver. We know that. His plate discipline's really good. I know he spent a lot of time on his throwing in the offseason, and so I'm excited to see him play. I mean, it was a really disappointing spring last year when he had the hand injuries and stuff. So more than anything, just to get him out there and watch him compete. I mean, I've seen him in the fall league and things, but good to see him up close.
Yeah, and speaking of that hamate bone, how about the news over the past week? Mets lose Francisco Lindor, Baltimore loses Jackson Holliday, and the Diamondbacks lose Corbin Carroll, all to that same injury. An injury that they say only takes 4 to 6 weeks to heal, but as Blake Mitchell will likely tell you, shoot, it took him about 4.5 months before he felt 100%. And then the news of the day, as I mentioned to open up the show, the Royals did make a move as they acquire Mitch Spence from the Athletics. The A's DFA'd the right-handed starting pitcher yesterday, and the Royals made a trade with the A's to acquire the soon-to-be 28-year-old right-hander. He's under Royals team control for another 5 years. He has 2 seasons of big league baseball under his belt. He's a cutter, slider, curveball guy with pretty good chase rates. And he pitched well against the Royals. When I heard the trade, I went, I'm pretty sure that dude carved the boys up a few years ago, and he did. 6 strong back in 2024. Here's what Royals general manager J.J. Picollo had to say about the acquisition of Mitch Spence.
You're always looking for starter depth, and I think in a year where you got guys in the WBC, you never have enough starting pitching anyway. But Mitch was the first pick of the Rule 5 draft, 23 going into the 24 season. He's a strike thrower, multiple pitches, has starting experience, and you just want to have that depth in your organization. And obviously we've got some starting pitching, but in this case, it was an opportunity. Somebody has options that can help us out. Who knows, how the year will go, but it certainly made a lot of sense for us when you just think about roster management.
Fair to say that you guys weren't the only ones interested in acquiring Spence.
Yeah. I don't know exactly what the competition was, but this wasn't a cash deal. This wasn't let him go through waivers. We'll put a claim in on him. This was pretty obvious that it was going to take a player to get him. And, there are times where it makes sense, and there's times where you walk away and so we don't want to give up a player. But that's not to take anything away from AJ. It's just more of where our team is right now. That's what we need to do.
Were you surprised that he was DFA'd? He was available?
I saw it last night, and I was. I mean, just and we've had discussions about him before, going back to the Rule 5. So it's a name I personally am very familiar with, just from those discussions. But then also through our communication channels, you wake up to a lot of banner in our Slack channels and text messages, and you realize this is something that's probably going to take up the morning.
And to acquire Spence, the Royals traded right-handed reliever A.J. Causey, one of the guys I was talking about a few weeks ago, how excited I was to watch him out here in Surprise. He's a 23-year-old that the boys selected in the 5th round of the draft back in 2024. And boy, did he look good last year in his first full professional season. 75 punch-outs in 73 innings last year with an ERA of 1.72. So you trade a young reliever and you acquire not as young, but still rather young starting pitcher. J.J. Picollo earlier today also noting that if there was a way to acquire a quality right-handed bat, that right now seems to be the avenue or the portion of this team. You don't want to say that there's a hole, but if you were going to add something to this ball club, what does this team need? J.J. points to a right-handed bat. Here's what he had to say about the guy that he moved, A.J. Causey.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird day for him. He's getting ready to throw his first live BP, and I'm sure he probably didn't sleep much last night. Maybe he did, but he's stretching in there, and you grab him and tell him, look, you just cut to the chase. You've been traded. Yeah, but he handled it great. I'm sure he's trying to process it right now, but he's a young guy. He's got upside. He's got a bright future, and he's going to do good things. And I think that the ultimate goal is, you want to benefit, but you also, when you draft a guy, and he was a high pick for us, you want him to do well also, wherever he goes, and that's what we shared with him.
Well, man, take a look at that AAA rotation suddenly. Could be Mitch Spence, Stephen Kolek, Ryan Bergert, Luendo Avila. That's not too shabby. I mean, that's a bad big league rotation, but that is an outstanding AAA rotation. But like I mentioned, you better love your depth at this time of the season. Matt Strahm, the newest Royals reliever, the former All-Star lefty, the former Royals draft pick, joins us after this.
You're listening to Vern's Hot Stove Show, brought to you by UMB Private Wealth. Do you have a financial plan? Do you know if you'll have enough to retire? Go to umb.com/private wealth to schedule an appointment today. This is your home for Royals baseball. 96.5, The Fan. And Doug.
There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means sitting front row at a comedy show.
Hey everyone, check out this guy and his bird. What is this, your first date?
Oh, no. We help people customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual together. We're married. Me to a human, him to a bird.
Yeah, the bird looks out of your league anyways.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure what the best option is? Selling a home, especially when dealing with foreclosure, divorce, job relocation, or an inherited property, can feel overwhelming. That's why I don't just make offers. I help homeowners understand all their options so they can make the right choice with no pressure and no obligation. I'm Rex, a local homebuyer and resident right here in Kansas City. Whether you're looking for a fast cash sale or just want to explore your choices, I'll walk you through the pros and cons of selling to me or listing with an agent. If selling directly is your best move, I'll offer you a fair cash price and a closing timeline that fits your needs in as little as 7 days or on your schedule. No repairs, no commissions, no hidden fees. Just a transparent, hassle-free process so you know exactly what to expect. Let's talk. Call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com for a free, no-pressure consultation. Rex Buys KC, helping homeowners make informed decisions with confidence.
Honey, that flu keeping you up? Did you take NyQuil Intense Flu?
Nah, I got this. Okay, I don't got this.
Yeah, you need NyQuil Intense Flu.
Undo your flu with NyQuil Intense Flu. NyQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms so you can sleep.
You do got this.
NyQuil Intense Flu. The nighttime sniffling, aching fever. Best sleep with the flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Okay, I have to tell you. I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the...
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your...
windshield wipers. eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
All right, welcome back. Vern's Hot Stove on 96.5. The Fan, broadcasting live from Surprise, Arizona. Site of Royal Spring Training 2026. Year number 14 for your boy out here. Grateful for the trip. Thankful that you're listening. It's my pleasure right now to welcome on one of the newest. I just told you the newest Royal is Mitch Spence, recently acquired from the Athletics, but one of the newer Royals, relief pitcher, former Royals draft pick, Matt Strahm. And Matt, I understand that the clubhouse is the same. Okay, there's a few different pictures, but the setup of the clubhouse is basically the same, so that hasn't changed. What has changed? What is different?
Honestly, it's kind of felt like I was talking to LC and I said every day's kind of felt like deja vu. Obviously, new faces. Sal's the only player that's still here from when I was here, but I got familiar faces with SD. I pitched with him in Philly, and then Schreiber and Walker in Boston. So there's some familiar faces for me for sure.
When the Royals traded you to San Diego, kind of knowing the competitor that you are, yes, it's part of the business, but I have to imagine there was some of the, well, I'm going to show y'all made a big mistake.
Yeah, I mean, I even told Dayton my goal was to make sure it was the worst trade he ever made. So that is my personality, but I learned fast that I miss Kansas City.
How so? Expand on that if you will.
I don't want to put my foot in my mouth here, but it's a place where you truly feel like Matt Strahm before the relief pitcher, if that makes sense. And again, I understand the business of baseball, and that's not what we're paid to get treated like. I get that. But it is nice showing up to work knowing that JJ and all them care about my wife and daughter just as much as they care about me.
When that happened, were you already prepared for the business side?
Yeah, being a 21st rounder coming up through the minor leagues, you get that taste pretty quick. With obviously there's favored treatment towards top prospects and high round draft picks, but again, that's the business. Those are assets that they need to build and pan out and whatnot. So I would say I had a feel for it early, and that's why I always say it's nice to be somewhere where business is still a priority here in Kansas City. I'm not saying that's not the case, but they just care about you as a human.
So 4 years in San Diego, 1 in Boston, then it's on to Philly, and your numbers go to a different level once you get to Philly. Was that just opportunity? Was it the fact that they gave you a few starts? Was it the beard?
Yeah.
What do you point to?
I would just say learning myself as a player and what makes me tick, I guess. But also, I mean, everywhere I've been, I've had the luxury to throw to unbelievable catchers. It started with Salvi, and then I go to San Diego, and I had, in my opinion, one of the best defensive catchers in the last 2 decades with Austin Hedges. And then Boston with Vasquez, and then I go to Philly and I have JT Realmuto. So, and again, I'm not a guy that shakes. I want to be on the mound and just kind of almost be brain dead and just execute whatever I'm told to execute. And so I rely on my catchers a lot, and I've been very fortunate in my career with the catchers I've had.
Interesting, especially when, Salvi. But they're also bringing along a young man in Carter Jensen, 22.
I've thrown to Carter twice now this spring. He's a good target, receives well. Pitch calling is something you learn with the game. So obviously Carter, being a rookie and everything, has some learning to do. But again, I'm gonna trust him back there no matter what. I always tell the catchers, let's go out there and you're playing MLB The Show. I'll just execute it. So let him play. It sounds like he plays video games, so I think we're in a good spot.
For sure.
Yeah.
You mentioned Realmuto in Philadelphia and just a juggernaut of a team really throughout your time. It seemed like that was a pretty nice match. That intensity that Philly has, man, it seemed like you fed off of that.
Yeah, no, I mean, my personality and everything meshes really well with the fans. I know that sounds crazy to some, but they treat you, you're as good as your last outing in Philly. They don't care about the last month you put up a 0. They just care about last night you blew the game and we lost. So I'm kind of wired that way. I was raised in a very competitive family, so it's win or lose.
Paint that picture, the competitive family.
I remember I had to meet with, CSP, Child Service Protection, after a game of musical chairs. Mom ended up winning, but it was her and I at the end, and I went for the chair, and my arm got between a spoke, and Mom came through to sit down on the chair, and she separated it was my right elbow, luckily. She separated my elbow, and I had to go to the ER to have it put back in, and actually ended up, they're like, do you feel safe at home? And I'm like, yeah, I just lost musical chairs.
Right, I need to get back and run it back.
And then, 5-6 years ago at Thanksgiving, I think my brother and I kind of ended Thanksgiving over a Monopoly game with everyone. So
that's the only way Monopoly ends.
Yeah. Whenever board games get pulled out, they're usually Band-Aids to follow. So it's we go for blood in the Strahm household.
So what's it like in the back of the plane?
So I'm not a gambler.
Okay.
Because I'm so competitive, I know I'd end up chasing my tail.
Sure.
And that's where I just stay away from that. And even card games on the plane, I know if I get drug into that, it's going to be just the way I'm wired. I'm not going to give up. So it's probably best I just stay clear of that. But I like playing for pride. I talk my talk, so I give it, and I like when it's talked back, and it is what it is.
How much over your career have you sensed teammates feeding off of that energy that you bring to the mound, and I would imagine the bullpen, the dugout, so on and so forth?
I guess I wouldn't really say I have recognized it.
I guess you're so locked in.
Yeah, one day I'm sure I'll sit down and look back at everything and look at what I've done or whatever. But the way I look at it is I've been a loser for 10 years. So it's got nothing to show for it. I need one of them rings Salvy's got. So I missed that by a year here, and it's time to get mine.
When you hear your name mentioned as one of the 10 best in the sport by MLB Network, does that register, or is that just a distraction?
Being ranked 7 means absolutely nothing if I go out there and can't pitch. So it's cool.
Yeah.
Turn the page, throw a bullpen tomorrow.
When you've been around as long as is your skin too thick to really be hurt by the business, by, like you mentioned, Philly fans?
Yeah. I mean, again, that's going to be the biggest thing I miss is throwing in front of sold-out crowds on a Tuesday in June.
Right.
I know Kansas City can be that. I debuted in 2016 after they won the World Series, and you didn't see many empty seats in our stands. So, and I get it too. When a team's good, you show out, and when they're not, you don't. So, like, I get it. I mean, Philly hasn't always been that way. Like, when they were struggling, so was the attendance. Like, that's something you have to build, and I kind of jumped on the coattails of what they built in Philly and kind of got to experience it. So very fortunate for that. But I know what the K can be, and it's not far off from what the bank is.
Well, like you're saying, when you debuted, pretty decent crowds, and it seemed like even back then you were feeding off of it.
Yeah.
Let alone all the experience you've
Just
had since.
Maybe a few less middle fingers at you when you blow it, but the energy for sure, they can match it.
When you've had the track record of success that you have, when you come to this organization and you sit down with that pitching department, what do you tell them I want from you?
I mean, I would say more so it's the opposite of, like, I'm coming here. I know that they wanted me. They see something, so it's like, hey, what can we sharpen? What can we make better? So it's I like to think of myself as a very coachable player. And that's what I'm looking for. Is I've always said I'm going to keep my 5 pitches just in case I need to start one day, and that's still the plan. So I understand my value in the bullpen, but I say I'm going to Rich Hill it, and when I'm 36, then I'll be a starter again. So we'll see.
I think for people listening, what's coming across is self-awareness, being a good teammate, and being open to outside ideas.
Yeah.
I may be answering the question with that, but what would you say is the key to your consistency in a role that, boy, there are very few that are consistent?
I'm consistent from the time I show up until first pitch, because one thing I've learned in the bullpen is once that first pitch is thrown, there's a reason we're 300 feet away and we can't control anything anymore. Whatever I can control, I do control. And then knowing once I'm in the game, it is what it is, and just do what you've prepared for. So I'm a very routine, very structured. I was teammates with Alex Gordon, who's the king of that. And we've seen Alex Gordon be MVP caliber, and then we've seen Alex Gordon be, they were talking about optioning him back in 18 when I left or something like that. And to see a guy stay so consistent, just knowing that his work is going to pay off, is kind of what I took from him, and that's kind of what I've stuck to.
Q mentioned your competitiveness and how excited he is to have that in the clubhouse, on the plane, the bus, and out of the bullpen, out in that bullpen. It seems like some pretty good dudes out there right now. How much do you enjoy, I mean, whether you want to or not, you're a leader because of what you've done. How much do you enjoy that?
No, I enjoy it. I'm definitely more so of, like, I'm not going to stand up and tell anyone how we have to do something. I'm more of a question and answer guy. You have questions, I'll answer it. I'm an open book too, so, like, you can talk to me about anything. If it's not the time and place, I'll tell you though, and then we'll talk about it later. Like, there's sometimes in the 5th inning, someone comes up and starts talking, and it's like, yo, this 6th inning might be mine. Like, not right now. So it's I don't really look at it as a leader, just being a good teammate. That's something else I've said. Like, being a middle reliever, my career is not a Hall of Fame career. The one thing I control is being a good teammate.
Mm-hmm. Have you noticed in your career that role? The money says how much it's respected, but maybe it's just the financial aspect of it, because saves were such a big deal. I would say even when you started, and now, man, the biggest moment could have been the 6th inning when you came in.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that kind of falls into like analytics changing the game with the matchups and everything. I agree with you can win a game in the 6th or you can lose a game in the 7th. I 100% agree with that. But what I've learned in 10 years is closers are cut from a different cloth. They're a dog or a cat in the corner, and they're going to get out of it. So it's not everyone's wired like that. I like to think of myself more as a fireman. I like the surprise and like, let's go, slide down the pole, here it is, and right into the game. I've been a closer, and it's different. Like you're sitting there waiting for a 9th inning versus being a setup guy or a bridge guy. You don't know when that could come. That could come with bases loaded in the 5th, or it could come with your setup man in the 8th gets into trouble, and then you're the bridge guy to the closer. So I've kind of always just prided myself in being ready to pitch from the first pitch to the last pitch and not expecting anything.
Final thing for you, what would you tell Royals fans as far as they know why they're excited about Bobby and Salvi and Mike Cal, but the team as a whole? I mean, you mentioned you've been a loser for 10 years.
Yep.
Everyone wants you to be a winner and hoist that trophy when it's all said and done. What excites you?
I've been very excited with how bitter these guys have been with how last year ended. So I've said it before, and I'll say it again, that the young team with hunger is very dangerous. So that's going to be us.
Love it. Matt, thank you very much for the time, man.
Yes,
Can't wait to see you back at the K.
No problem.
Oh, let's go. Matt Strom there. Blake Mitchell, Royals' top prospect, the catcher, joins us next.
Vern's Hot Stove Show, brought to you by UMB Private Wealth. Do you have a financial plan? Do you know if you'll have enough to retire? Go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule an appointment today. If you miss any of the show, it's on demand with the All Things Vern channel on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. 96.5, The Fan.
Hi, I'm Tom Shane. Since 1929, Shane Company has helped millions of customers find their dream engagement ring. I still hand-select every ruby and sapphire center stone, choosing each one for its unique color and life. We're proud to offer the widest selection of beautiful colored gemstones for your engagement ring and fine jewelry. Because a friend wants you to have nothing but the best. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Hey, it's Rob Britton from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, and we're excited to announce the launch of Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the World Cup with our friends over at 98.1 KMBZ.
And Rob, I'm Scott Parks from Dana and Parks on KMBZ. Beyond the Pitch KC will feature the biggest names who made the World Cup in Kansas City possible, plus the biggest storylines heading into this summer's tournament. This is not a podcast about soccer. Don't get us wrong. This is a podcast about Kansas City. This is a podcast for Kansas City. And this is a podcast that'll tell the story of how our town is hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes will be released every Wednesday starting on March 4th, as well as video clips that can be seen on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ's social channels.
Subscribe and download to Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series with myself, Rob Bretton, on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
That's the sound of James adding long-lasting Gain scent boosters to his laundry this morning.
Several hours later, James sniffs the irresistible scent of Gain on his shirt. Gain. Several hours later, James has even caught the attention of his mother-in-law, and she never gives him attention.
Ooh, you smell amazing, James.
Oh, thanks, Mom. I love you too.
I never said that.
Add Gain Scent Boosters to your laundry. Add joy to your day.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Hey, it's Vinny Pasquantino, and you're listening to the home of the Royals, 96.5 The Fan.
Back inside Surprise Stadium. My name is Josh Vernier. It's Royals Spring Training 2026. Get games going pretty soon. Position players reporting tomorrow as far as the guys participating in the World Baseball Classic. Hey, if you ever miss any portion of this show or the post-game show throughout the season, fear not. It's all podcasted. Just subscribe to the All Things Vern podcast on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast. Again, just search All Things Vern. Thanks for listening tonight. We do it every Thursday night at 6 o'clock. I see Dan and KCK on the text line, says he's expecting big things from Jack Caglione. Dan, I appreciate you listening. It's always nice to know that there's someone other than just my mom and my mother-in-law and my wife listening. Although, shout out to my wife. She did pick me up in a big way today. Talking to her, she's like, hey, it's Thursday. I'm so excited. My favorite show tonight. She picks me up. Now, she calls my show The Pit. I don't quite get it, but no, it's nice. It's nice knowing that you have support at home. Text line's always open for you, 913-586-7965. That's 913-586-7965. My buddy Jay Binkley comes your way in about 20 minutes from now with a little after hours, talking Chiefs. And I'll make sure he talks some Royals, so stay tuned. Jay Binkley coming up at 7 o'clock. But as promised, joining us now, he's made it through one day of spring training. He's made it through a few days of spring training. I mentioned that because of what happened last year, the broken hamate bone on day one of camp. Pleased to be joined by Royals top prospect Blake Mitchell. So with all that being known, with everything that he went through last season, what's the mindset coming into camp here in 26?
Yeah, it's a true honor, to be here for my second camp. Super blessed. Glad to have this opportunity. Mindset this year is just stay healthy, since, last year didn't go as planned. So try to stay healthy the whole time. Come out here and just have fun, be as successful as possible. Get to learn as much as I can from the veteran guys, be around them as much as possible, and just see how they go about their day.
I kind of want to not introduce you to Kansas City Royals fans because they know all about you since being selected with that top 10 pick, but I want to get to know you, and I think the best place to start is, how did you fall in love with the game?
Yeah, I've been playing baseball my whole life, as long as I can remember. My dad introduced me to the game. I'm sure I loved it since day one. All I can remember growing up was just playing baseball all the time, and I loved every step of the way, traveling all across the country, playing in, a bunch of different tournaments, showcases, whatever could get me better. And I'm super thankful for that. Thankful that my parents, pushed me, and, I was right there pushing them just as hard. I was always go, go, go. I wanted to play all the time.
Was baseball the first love?
I would say so, yeah. From what I remember, it was just always baseball. I always loved playing baseball, loved practicing baseball. I, always had a glove in my hand, bat in my hand, just loved watching baseball. I remember growing up, my parents always telling me that. I always watched my dad in the 2001 College World Series Home Run Derby because he hit in that, and they said they'd always put it on the TV, and I would just sit there and watch it over and over and over.
Oh, that's terrific. Tell me more about Dad and his baseball life.
Yeah, so, same thing with him. He grew up playing baseball. He went to Alvin Community College for 2 years, played there, and then went to McNeese State and played 2 more years there. He got a little bit of indie ball experience, but then after that, he just called it and said it was time to move on and put all of his effort into me to, make me the best person, best baseball player that I could become.
You say you're watching Dad in Home Run Derby, so I would imagine he was your first favorite player. Who ultimately replaced him? Was there another? Maybe that's the wrong way to put it. What professional became your favorite baseball player?
I remember growing up, I liked watching Troy Tulowitzki a lot when I was young because I played shortstop, so I looked up to the shortstops. And then once I became a catcher, realized that was my true love. I always like watching Bryce Harper just because he's, lefty hitter and I like his swing. And then talking to Jose Trevino a lot. Is another guy that I look up to because he's great to the community back home, gives everything back. I don't think there's a much better guy to look up to right now because he's playing great, doing great things, and ultimately, at the end of the day, he gives it back to the community.
How much of that do you want to be a part of your legacy, not only on the field, but giving back?
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot as well. He does this thing back home where it's like kind of a World Series. He calls it like Chevy's World Series back in Corpus. And, we've talked about it, and he's like, one day you got to take this thing over. And I was like, all right, well, I got to get to the big leagues and go play good and then, have that opportunity.
You mentioned traveling all over the country playing growing up. Do you have a favorite baseball trip, moment?
I would say most recently was probably my going into my senior year of high school. That summer was just a jam-packed summer with baseball. I went to every single event that I could. I didn't shy away from any competition. Most guys like pick and choose where they want to go, but I was just like, I just want to go play. So I went and played at every single top event that I got invited to, that I was able to compete in, and just went out there and played 100% and put myself in front of those scouts' eyes to, show them what I was truly about.
What does competition mean to you? How would you describe your competitive edge?
Competition definitely fuels me. When I see other people are playing good, especially my teammates, that definitely fuels me a lot. I feel like makes everybody around you pick up their game and just makes you want to strive to be better. It's like, all right, this so-and-so is out there playing this good. Well, it's like, all right, now I got to step up and play that good as well. So, it's great. Playing on winning teams, also, I love that. I've been a winner my whole life. I've always won. So when we go out there and we're winning games, it just, lightens the mood, brings everybody energy, and everybody just wants to go out there and perform.
Blake Mitchell, kind enough to join us here on 96.5 The Fan. To be drafted in the top 10 out of high school, obviously says a lot about your talent, but it also says a lot about your commitment. I'm interested what that looked like. High school commitment, while bozos like me are out partying and making a bunch of bad decisions, you're sacrificing, you're making that commitment, you're putting in the work.
Yeah, you talk about commitment, and that reminds me of my commitment to LSU that I made in high school. Once that happened and, I achieved that, it's every little kid's dream to grow up and commit to a Division I college. I feel like that's when everything switched for me. I completed that step and, I wasn't worried about anything. I was just free out there playing my game. It's like, all right, I have no worry. Now it's just time to go play baseball. And, just wanted to go out there and be better and better and better to ultimately not even go to college. Once, like I said, once I committed and it was just like, it was go time from there and just put my foot on the gas and just went to work.
And like I mentioned, drafted in the top 10, played very well in A-ball in 2024, but as everyone remembers, a broken hamate on day one of camp last spring, and that completely alters your 2025. You started to return in May, slow in June, really good July, up and down August. How much did that mess with the mind, if at all?
Yeah, coming in first day, obviously super excited, my first year in camp, and then that happens to me, it's really defeating, and it truly sucks, having that injury, and then people are like, oh, it's easy, simple surgery, you'll be back in 4 to 6 weeks. That kind of brings some life, some spirit back into you. I'm like, all right, if everything goes well, I'm not going to miss that much time. I'll miss a couple weeks of the season. And then, just rehab's not going well. Had to get 2 cortisone shots. Ultimately, I was in rehab for 4.5 months instead of 4 to 6 weeks, which is the usual time for a hamate. So having that long period of time where I'm just sitting in rehab and it's like, dang, am I ever going to make it out of this? It really takes a toll on you mentally. So once I got back, I just had to grind through it each and every day, knowing that I wasn't at 100%. My wrist didn't feel good. It wasn't comfortable swinging at all. But it's just like, I just got to get through it. So just grinded through it the rest of that season. Obviously didn't go the way I wanted to, not super successful. So I definitely beat myself up mentally. And then going into Fall League, I kind of just, hit the mental reset button. And hamate bothered me, my wrist bothered me for about the first 2 weeks of that Fall League. And then after that, it kind of just slowly withered away. And then I could just notice, each and every day waking up with just my mind was more free. Everything was just more free, just because I wasn't worried about my wrist, my hand, none of that anymore. I was just going back to playing the game that I love and just going out there and having fun. So that Fall League, that last 3 weeks to a month, was definitely a lot better. And I started hitting the ball a lot harder and was a lot more successful. So, hopefully that can continue over and, continue to be the player that I truly am.
Do you feel as if you're better equipped for the just ups and downs of baseball that lie ahead?
Yeah, definitely being in rehab, I think, makes you mature a little more, makes you realize what you have off the field, and really cherish those moments, not putting your entire life on the game of baseball, because ultimately at the end of the day, you're not going to have the game of baseball forever. Choose that happiness off the field and just, cherish every little moment that you have.
Royals top prospect Blake Mitchell joining us here on 96.5 The Fan. I have to imagine you report last year, and, there's Salvi, there's Bobby, I'm in the big league clubhouse, this is what I've been dreaming of, and then it gets robbed from you. But now you're back. Does it feel like it's year one, or did being in that clubhouse last year kind of take those butterflies away here in 26?
Yeah, being in camp last year definitely helped a lot. Just being around the guys, even though I wasn't really doing much, I was still able to catch a few bullpens before I got surgery because it didn't bother me then. So just being around the pitchers, being able to catch those guys, have them see my face, get to know me a little bit, definitely made this year and this transition a lot easier. I already know most of the guys. I know most of the pitchers. I know what they throw. I know what they like to throw. Coming in here, it's like I don't have to introduce myself to everybody like I did last year.
Any guy you're excited to catch?
Last spring, I didn't get to catch Reagan's at all, but I actually caught Reagan's yesterday in his bullpen. So that was awesome, seeing how everybody, when he's throwing, everybody's sitting there watching, trying to learn as much as they can. It's just great to see, and then I'm just back there doing my job, which is just catching them and making them feel comfortable up there. So that was, definitely an honor.
Yeah, what's the push and pull? Because as a catcher, you're a leader, but you're also a rookie to where, I want to be seen and not heard. How do you balance I want to let people know that I can lead and I'm excited to lead, but I'm also not trying to step on Salvi's toes or tell Cole Reagans what to do. How do you balance that?
Yeah, I'm definitely not a guy that goes out there and says too much. I kind of want to lead more by example. Just go out there and play good baseball. And, if you're playing good, then guys will look up to and respect you. So I think that's how I earn my respect, is just going out there and being a good teammate, being thankful to be here every day and take advantage of every opportunity that I get.
What have you observed watching Salvi over the past few seasons, and what impresses you most?
It's crazy, all the rehab stuff and everything he does just to get his body ready for the next day or even that day. He just, takes so much pride in doing that because he knows that's what's going to keep him on the field, is staying healthy. So the amount of work that he does off the field just, opens your eyes, and it's like, if I want to play this game for as long as he does, I'm going to have to do the same things as him because he's always available. He's out there doing everything he can to stay on the field.
It's wild. It is wild. You would think from the outside, the average fan, the average media member, you're thinking, Salvi's been doing it so long. I'm sure he's taken a few days off. He's the first guy here almost every single morning.
Yeah, no days off for him. He's, doing every little thing the right way, doing whatever he can to stay on the field and come out and lead these guys every single day.
Yeah, and that's why he'll find himself in Cooperstown when it's all said and done. Give me a name of a teammate that Royals fans should be aware of.
I'll give you two names, and it was two guys that I played with in the Arizona Fall League. First one I'll say is Carson Rockefort. Great teammate, great guy, goes out there and plays hard every single day. And, he plays Gold Glove defense out there in center field. He's going to be a great addition when he gets up there. And, I'm super excited to see his successes on the field. And then another one is Daniel Vasquez. He's great in the infield, great hitter. And, every time I see him, it's just like, dude, he's even better than the last time I saw him. He's even better. He just gets better each and every time. And he just goes out there and plays the right way. You know, he's a good teammate. Like being around him. You have to get to know him a little bit, you know, to see that side of him, because he kind of stays to himself. But, you know, once he opens up and you're around him, you know, he's a great guy to be around.
Both Roccaforte and Vasquez in camp alongside our guest, Blake Mitchell. Final thing for you, I would imagine that injury last season tends to narrow your focus. You're not thinking, all right, here's what my career is going to be. You're taking it more day to day. But do you still have those career goals? Do you think big picture, or are you solely where your feet are?
Yeah, definitely in the back of my head, you have to have those goals. You have to have something to strive for at the end of the day. But I do my best to stay where my feet are, just take every little thing day by day and just stay in the moment. I feel like if you're too worried about your goals are too big, you kind of get lost in that. You kind of get caught up, and your vision kind of takes you straight to that. Like, you're not taking in every single moment. You know, you're not just right there each and every day. It's just like, all right, this is what I need to get done. This is what's going to prepare me for that end goal. And some guys will kind of just try to skip over the little things that will get you there instead of doing each and every little thing day by day. Do it the right way. That's what's going to get you to that end ultimate goal that you're looking to strive for.
Blake Mitchell, can't thank you enough for the time, man. Thank you very much.
Sure, thank you.
That's just the first of many live editions of Vern's Hot Stove out here in spring training. Thanks to Blake Mitchell and Matt Strom. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, every Thursday at 6 o'clock we're doing this. I've already gotten commitments from Bobby, from Waka. Lugo's going to join us. Ben Kudrna, the Kansas City kid, scheduled to stop by. Another former first-round pick, Frank Mazzucato. I plan on chasing down Michael Garcia. Did I mention Salvador Perez? Some big shows, not only here on Vern's Hot Stove, but sprinkled throughout 96.5 The Fan, from Fesco and Dusty to Cody and Gold, and, of course, The Drive with C. Shoot. Man, when we talk next week, we're going to be less than 24 hours away from the Cactus League opener. That's right, the 20th, next Friday, a week from tomorrow. Spring training baseball actually begins with the boys in blue, with their sights set on winning this division. And I think the belief, well, I hope the belief among Royals fans is starting to build. You can let me know. I mean, are you all in on this being a division title ball club? Let me know on the text line, 913-586-7965. I'm taking a look at Pacoda. I saw the Pacoda predictions earlier today on MLB Network. Pacoda, the same formula that hated the Royals back in 2014 and 15 and 16, never projected them to do anything. And really has never given much love or credence to this Royals organization. Pacoda has the Royals winning the American League Central. And if you want to go to the wise guys, you take a dive into the odds. Royals have the second shortest odds of winning the American League Central, second only to the Detroit Tigers. And like I laid out last week, sure, the Tigers pitching staff can now say we're as good as Kansas City's. They can't say they're better. Not in my opinion. Not when you lose a guy like Reese Olson and you're going to trot out Justin Verlander's 43-year-old carcass and tell me that you're just as good. I ain't buying it. Want to say thanks to Julio Sanchez back at the studio for the help. Again, stay tuned. Jay Binkley and After Hours is coming up next. You should have Binkley tell the story of his trip to spring training and why he didn't make that first flight back to Kansas City. That'd be a great story to tell. Jay Binkley's coming up next. I'll talk to you tomorrow afternoon on The Drive with CDOT. And, of course, next Thursday at 6, live from Arizona. Have a good night. Talk to you next week.
This is Vern's Hot Stove Show, brought to you by UMB Private Wealth. Do you have a financial plan? Do you know if you'll have enough to retire? Go to umb.com/private wealth to schedule an appointment today. 96.5 The Fan.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Let's go! You're still grooving, still connecting, still loving, still turning up, still thriving. You still got it, but your immune system, it weakens as you age. That's where vaccines come in. They help train and strengthen your immune response to fight off respiratory illnesses like flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, or COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Book in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Look out for Max Minute on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. This is Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
And welcome in After Hours Shea Weekly with Julio Sanchez producing the operation. Just heard Vern's Hot Stove from 6 to 7. It's great stuff. He has players on. He's got a lot of things going. You got the first spring training game February 20th. And a lot of the Royals, of course, going to play in the WBC, which is going to be a ton of fun. If you're getting Olympic fever, watching the Olympics like the hockey team was playing today, if you're getting the fever, if you're getting the itch, you get the WBC coming right up, man. Because in the Olympics, you got the NHL players, and then you'll have the major league players playing as far as the WBC. Hello, Julio. You know what? I was thinking about this with Vern.
Yeah, we can talk about this?
Every Thursday night, you can catch Vern's Hot Stove. It's great stuff. It makes me want to be down there watching the Royals. I mean, spring training is a fun time. That should be a bucket list thing. You can see a lot of baseball right up close. Now, right now, when they're practicing and stuff, not as fun as the games. Go down there for the games. But Vern, I don't think he's ever gone to Arizona. And I mean ever, when the temperature was, 77 degrees when he left Monday? Because usually, the weather's crap. I mean, there's ice, on the ground. There's still some snow left or whatever. It's in the 30s or 40s if we're lucky. It probably is not 50